Eurasian goodness, they're on a tail. We won't let them make our freedom fail. Soviet boomers trying to bring us down, but we'll never let them steal our crown. Satanic neo-Nazis spreading their hate. We won't let darkness determine our fate. Pagan felonies, they're out for control, but we'll stand strong, united as a whole.
And we are live. Welcome to the Renegade podcast. I'm your host, Dashing Robe, and I'm with my frequent sidekick, Artistic Layman.
But when I say I'm embracing fascism, I literally mean I want a dictator. I want someone who is going to crush the left unabashedly until it is dead. Figuratively, of course, not literally. I don't believe in violence.
Academics get the bullet too in Minecraft and Warzone 3. Like a lot of, honestly, it's kind of surreal because, we talk about how history in a lot of ways is, like, you turn the page and 90 years have passed, you turn another page and 200 years have passed. History, it's not even just history is written by the victors, but it's gathered by the victorious and by the academics. You know? And
it's almost like history is its own scripture, and no one bothers to read the scriptures.
Indeed. And you know, the thing that pisses... I don't know. I've had a really, really good week, but at the same time, I made it. I'm getting there. I'm just really, really just upset about a lot of stuff. I mean, I had a guy... I'm going to say I got in a fight with my priest, but I kind of had let's just say we had aggressive negotiations, let's say. Again, they don't get it. It's like the army of God does not know how to deal with an insurgency. That's really what it boils down to. The Salvation Army does not know how to deal with an insurgency. They don't know how to deal with people who honestly are civilians. Like if you're fighting, let's say, a war, they're in one uniform, they're in the other uniform. You could fight, but the left uses guerrilla warfare tactics, right? So like I've talked about how the pagans, right, have basically been co-opted by the left, essentially, just like how liberation theology and whatnot. I try to tell this to them and say, why are we assuming that they're playing with the same lexicon as us? Like, I talk about marriage. I talk about, how are we going to date if I can't play the field and you think that's evil? How am I supposed to get ahead? And then it's stupid, you know? It's like they have luxury beliefs because of the multicultural hellscape that we live in today. Ugh. I don't know. I just need to get it off my chest. Well, so you read Das Kapital, I hear.
Well, I finally finished it, which was Marx once said that writing the book was a chore. Reading it is just a big of a chore.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And of course, I had to supplement it with YouTube channels that actually do read it, like Marxists who actually read it, because it's such a... I mean, it's so obnoxious, but it's also so emotionally charged, and I begin to understand why Das Kapital is read more than Wealth of Nations, because Wealth of Nations is very analytical and very actual experience, like very genuine, actually experience driven, which is kind of boring and uninteresting. And Marx's work is very emotionally charged. Like at one point, he refers to the capitalists as vampires sucking the life out of living labor. Like, jeez.
Holy shit! They're like vampires, huh? Jesus Christ! And you know. It's funny you should say vampires, because it kind of reminds me of what Tick History said about how the capital is the Jewish god, right? Or capitalism is just synonymous with the Jews, apparently.
That's the thing. That's the thing, though. For Marx in his writings, capital is this kind of like. We know it as a demiurge, but he never says the word demiurge. It's like this mystical power that all human beings are trying to reach. Because in his book, he never denounces. He never says the capitalists are doing it deliberately or doing it for manipulation. They're doing this. No, capital is what everyone wants. We have fetishized capital and commodities, and we're striving it for as if it were our god.
So, maybe this is just a layman. Like, again, I've never read Marx. I don't plan on reading Marx, because let's not kid ourselves. You just finally finished the first volume of how many?
Das Kapital. And it was the one of 3 volumes, and it's one of it was the only volume that was printed in Marx's lifetime because, and people speculate the reason why he didn't print the other 2 is because the other two technically contradicted the first one. But I have yet to finish that. I've yet to get to that.
Jesus Christ.
And-
You know,
And the only reason I was able to finish it and comprehend it is because I relied on Marxist YouTubers to describe it to me. It's like, oh, good grief. So it's just so people like, okay, you're not misconstruing what they're saying. No, that's basically what they're saying.
so as a layman's term, when he says capital, I think value. That's what I really think.
But what's value though?
Well, that's my issue. Like I literally I got pulled in at my work the other day. They really like me, by the way. They really, really like me, and I'm very happy about that. So I'm able to basically, give back my goodwill back onto you as the audience with a little more peppy and cheerful attitude that I have. But I had to up the rhetoric with them so that way they'd like me a bit more. So I never define my terms when I talk to them. Like we have to create value, we have to create industry. It's like very much like what Joshua or Fluke deals with, and I'm very good at it apparently. Like I don't know if it's just like, just playing the system, understanding that it's all bullshit anyhow. But the value is one of the things that I can never freaking get down because value is so subjective and so relative. And you could very well make the argument that just like with water, like a gallon of water that I'm drinking right now, right?
But for Marx, it's not relative. Because for
Marx, it's objective.
No. Well, he'll never say the word objective, but it functions that way because he believes value is labor. He believes that human labor is the thing that creates new value, and every single human being, and the way capitalists make capital or like surplus, make money or make a profit or whatever, is to get the worker to work more than he needs to. So in other words, when you see like a bit more, I should put. I'm going.
Labor is will. Labor.
Well, no,
will.
It's human labor. It's human labor and nothing else.
Human will.
No, not will. Labor.
Really? So will doesn't. So the will of the worker to build something, right? The will, this is where we get to the whole notion.
That's what Marx believes capitalism takes away from the average person, because capital takes away man's ability to. Well, he doesn't say this in Das Kapital, but he takes away man's ability to be his own creator, to be his own master of his own life, to be his own creative.
So now this kind of does bore into that whole Luciferian concept of like we're gonna fight the demiurge of the capitalists, so that way we could basically take over and instill our own values essentially.
Oh yeah. I think more cultural Marxists to this, because Marx is all about the economics, and that's where he ultimately kind of failed. Because keep in mind, Marx's ideas were never popular in his lifetime. He died in poverty and obscurity, and his books were basically gathering dust on bookshelves. It would be another generation. It would be another generation to take appreciation of his work, which is basically saying lying about his work, because the work is so convoluted and stupid. Marx uses big terms and terminology that circle back to each other, and I think he does that just to make himself sound more intelligent than he actually is.
Yeah, exactly. It's sophistry. It literally is sophistry. It's literally just gobbledygook crap that you'd have to go into academia just to fucking understand and get.
Or it's a perfect example of the wizard circle. The wizard will trap you in their own circle of vocabulary and expect you to talk that way, which is kind of like what it's. And when Marxists defend Marx's work, it's always like, it's like when a person, well, where does the Bible explicitly say that? Like, Marx is not the prophet. He's not a god. I can criticize his work however I want.
Speaking of Marx, let's get down to the shit business and figure out what the hell we're going to be talking on. Let's see what we got here.
I'll show you that for another video for another time.
No, I got you. I got you on that, because honestly, hey, Mike, how you doing? I'm back in Zine. I'm back in Zine went live. Oh, okay. I have to look into this guy. This Zane. I don't know who the hell that is. 1 second. I'm gonna Google it right now. Zine. Don't know who that is. We'll look into it. But in any case, let's see what we got here. Alrighty. This was sad.
And what was sad?
Constantine Kissin. Now, I'll tell you this: like, I'm really getting sick and tired of politics. Like, I just want shit to work. I'm right there with Carlin to a certain degree. I wouldn't say I'm going full fash, but I definitely want to fucking. I want rule of law, and I want to fucking make sure that I could actually get my 199 Grand Slam. I want that shit back. I don't want the free, like, the $4 Grand Slam and like $8 freaking orange juice. I want my goddamn 199 out of your mind Grand Slam. Yes, I'm not out of my mind. That's fiscally sane, good sir.
Yeah, but not to invoke the classical liberal that I've recently rediscovered in me, but that's exactly what the left wants. They want you to go full spurg and then use your spurgery as an excuse to justify their entrenchment, which is exactly what happened after Pinochet died.
Pinochet, little Mr. Trebuchet himself. They want me to go spurg, but I won't go spurg. Zine is part of the Casino fandom.
Carlin's already there, and unfortunately, the more I went back and saw her personal history and her personal, or not just her personal history, but her established history. I mean, the reason why she's gone full spurg is because she is a spurg, because she can't help herself. She's I mean, we say this over and over again, but she is literally a borderline who's socially grifting to get. No, she's after social clout, and she's latching on, and because now she's latching on to Nick Fuentes and all that crowd, and all of a sudden, oh yeah, fascism's a great idea. I want a dictator, ignoring the fact that dictators never work in the long term. To which
by the way,
you always remember the phrase, yeah, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain, and you always become the villain when you become a dictator.
Indeed. And the sad part here is that she kind of has become the cultural equivalent of a hippo. And that's not me trying to insult her fucking weight.
Which is actually her criticism in her video.
What, she's a hippo?
No, her criticism, the anti-Jesse Joey crowd who bash on her all the time is, her best argument is, oh, they're calling me fat. Like, really? That's all the best you got? No, Carlin, it's not that you're fat, it's just that you're obnoxious and you're easy to trigger.
Right on. Mike says he's a streamer. He's on Kick right now.
Trigonometry.
Yeah, no, well, yeah, with trigonometry. We're gonna watch trigonometry here.
Who is he? Who's this guy?
This is Constantine Kissin, which I'll just say that I don't know who this guy is, but I think he definitely looks Eastern European, and that sounds Eastern European. Let's hear it out, because here's the thing that pisses me off, and there's a reason why I labeled this as the D&D of politics. We've gotten to the point where Jordan Peterson has fucked everything up. It's no longer good versus evil. Now we have order versus chaos. We literally have fucking D&D alignments when it comes to politics.
Or is it Michael Moorcock politics?
So it's the Moorcockian dialectic. the Moorcockian dialectics.
Well, although technically there are no dialectics in Moorcock, they're just different parameters on the four part grid.
Thesis and antithesis. It's chaos and order.
Actually, no. It's a balance. That's where you get the idea of the balance. Like, we have to balance order and chaos, because if you don't do it, evil can work through order, but also order can become evil.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of he has his characters set up in such a way where all extremes are evil. So, like, everyone in Mel de Benet is basically a freaking is like a Cenobite, essentially. They're all fucking getting their rocks off. And
is Elric like a full a Sargon with his horseshoe theory then?
What the hell what's Sargon's horseshoe theory?
Well, horseshoe theory is that at the end all extremes are the same. The extremes are always the same. Like, alignment of the political spectrum.
Yes, that is correct. That is actually correct, because here's the thing. The people who are on the extreme orders end, they're lawful evil. The people on the extreme, I would say, evil end or chaotic end are chaotic evil.
But he's using that in terms of the political left and right, and that only works if both the left and the right have authoritarian tendencies. To which if they have authoritarian tendencies, then there's something else that separates both of them. But, I mean, Moorcock is the only place where the horseshoe theory actually is a work in practice. So anyway, where were we? Why I fear the future with Kinchin. Or Kinson.
Yeah, Kinchin. His name's Kinchin. Let's Kinchin.
Sorry.
Constantine Kinchin. It's all good.
Why I fear the future. In New York, Francis and I were invited to see a musical about the artist Tamara de Lempicka. Lempicka, the wife of a Polish noble, flees the Russian Revolution and ends up in Paris. With her husband struggling to adjust to his loss of status and wealth, the family lives in poverty until Lempicka is discovered as an artist. She gradually finds her feet and eventually thrives in the rapidly...
So like a painter of Ayn Rand painter, basically. See that?
Yeah. Yes.
That's they stylized a humanist picture. Let's see if we get. Oh yeah, I could definitely see that in an Ayn Rand. Oh yeah, I could definitely see that in an Ayn Rand cover book.
That I could see that somebody who Sticks, Hex, and Hammer would hang out with.
Oh no.
Unironically, they probably like, oh, let's clank our spoons together.
I wonder if using those long paintbrushes actually helps.
She gradually finds her feet and eventually thrives in the rapidly changing world of the 1920s. Convinced that the unimaginable horrors of the past can never be repeated, Parisians cope with the trauma of World War I by what we would now call living their best lives. Lempicka thrives in this capital of hedonism, maintaining her marriage while also falling in love with a female prostitute who introduces her to the joys of opium. Celebrated as a female artist who finally gives
The
voice to the
joys
power
of
the pen.
opium. Joys of the. She becomes a smackhead then.
You know what opium? You know what opium does?
It knocks you out.
Well, it's interesting because when you're in pain, you're injured, you take an opium, you still feel the pain, you just don't care.
Oh.
Because that's why Marx calls a capitalism, like a religion, the opium of the masses. Like life still hurts, but religion just teaches you not to feel it anymore.
So you're still in. Okay, you're gonna have to back this up for me because isn't that just like Tylenol?
Well, because when you actually feel pain, you don't actually feel it in your arm, you feel it in your brain. And so it's basically hitting the nerve where you just don't care. Like you sense the pain, it doesn't make you react anymore. You're like, it's kind of like being stoned where you're not, it's not like you don't feel the pain, you just stop caring about everything.
So it's like taking weed, except the fact that I don't fucking. It seems like a lot of drugs are just weed with extra steps.
Well,
I hate to be the guy who says
depending
that.
on the person, weed can make you overstimulate, make you overthink, and make you go in circles. Whereas an opiate will just make you go like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's that fucking indica shit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fucking A. So let's see. Mike says the part about becoming a dictatorship. That's basically Game of Thrones. Stannis' claim to the throne by right, and Renly based his claim on the favorite of the people. In a lot of ways, I don't know about that. I'd have to look a bit deeper into that because I honestly, I don't know. It depends on what we were talking about. I can't remember. I think we're talking about I don't know, just the general notion that the Republicans don't care. They don't care about us.
Well, I mean, we kind of know the Republicans don't care about us, but I like their policies better.
Yeah, but the problem here is they have to defend culture, dude. They don't defend culture. And here's an example of this. Play it. Keep playing it.
Her work, she secures both wealth and popular acclaim. This entire period is depicted in the musical as a time in which the boring old ways are abandoned in favor of exploring variety, or, as we would now call it, diversity. In the scene that sums up the mood of the times, the proprietor of a lavish lesbian and transgender bar...
Or in the modern we have a modern version of that in the movie Zootopia, where the singer goes, try everything. Like, oh, good heavens.
...that Lempicka frequents, opens it with the words fraternité, égalité, lesbianité. While mainstream society remains skeptical...
The gay French Revolution, oh my gosh.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Rogue Pierre is actually played by a woman this time.
A black woman.
A black woman, an octoroon, like fucking not the Edmond Dantes. What the fuck is his name? The guy who did the Count of Monte Cristo.
Parisian socialites do not just accept these minority sexual practices; they celebrate them as the antidote to the staleness of the old order.
Which never actually happens in minority cultures. Minority cultures are very conservative when it comes to their own.
Yeah, they defend their own.
An order which put unity and social cohesion above the unlimited freedom of the individual. Until I found myself sitting in the audience of Lempicka, I never really understood why Jordan Peterson spent so much time focusing on the duality of order and chaos. I do now. Regular readers of my Substack will remember that in the exchange I hosted there between James Orr and Stephen Hicks about conservatism versus liberalism, James Orr explained that the primary concern of conservatives is the preservation of order. We also know from evolutionary psychologists like our former guest Diana Fleischman that societies which experience an increase in disease become more conservative with a small c, a statement which hardly needs explaining to anyone who was alive during the COVID pandemic. Put simply,
Nope.
as we ratchet up the amount of chaos, order rises to the top of people's concerns. As Lempicka's story unravels, fascists and communists fight over the future of Europe, replacing the joys of chaos with the enforcement of order. Instead of celebrating variety and diversity, they detest and punish it. Instead of embracing difference, they suppress it. Instead of worshipping the strong, independent woman, they produce grandiose masculine art in architecture, and put the woman back in her rightful place of wife and mother. They have no tolerance for
Yes,
individual differences.
that's the correct place. It is the correct place. Stop acting like it isn't. You belong in the kitchen, or you belong we will tell you where you belong. Okay, and I belong in certain places too. I belong in the goddamn salt mine. Yeah. What were you saying, Luke?
Oh, what was it? Oh yeah. Even C.S. Lewis touched on this when he said, like, when he talked about how Victorians were so puritanical and protective. It's like, oh, and people say if we just if we just embrace ourselves and our sexuality, everyone will work out well in the garden. And C.S. says, no, I disagree. I believe the reason why it was cut up is because it had gotten out of control, and that is what's going to. I mean, not to invoke a hermetic principle, but the pendulum swings and it swings back, and sometimes it takes a lot of people out along the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Mike Tuck says, everything I see about modern dominacy, they bring up the French Revolution, not the U.S. for some reason. Yeah, you know why? It's because they're spiritually of the left, dude. These people, and I've talked about this before, that a lot of these leftists, they have this self-help mindset, but it comes from Marxism. Essentially, it's this idea of waking them out of their stupor so they can fight and accept real consciousness. And a lot of this, some of them become, how should we say it? Some of them become like me and Magic, let's say. They become spiritual entrepreneurs. If that makes any sense. Keep going, Luke.
On the contrary, they believe that a nation can only function if people submit themselves to the good of society. Anyone who refuses must naturally be eliminated. People on the left frequently accuse me of being a conservative. Conservatives, on the other hand, claim me as one of their own and are inevitably disappointed when they discover that I am not. Why am I not a conservative? First, I'm not averse to chaos. In fact, I like it. I like offensive, sacrilegious jokes. I'm in favor of decriminalizing cannabis and psychedelics, which I've never taken, precisely because they allow us to transcend the rigidity of our thinking. I'm not threatened by the
God,
existence
that's false consciousness, Kenshin. Wanting to fucking accept the volcano god is what you should have wanted.
Yeah, I mean, leaving people free to be drunk is one thing, but saying that actually transcends our perception, no, it gives permission to be idiots. That's what it does.
It gives you the feeling that you're somehow...
I am officially more on the liberal side of this, but the thing is, no, it's going to be a matter of time before you say, no, this has gone too far, we're making it outlawed.
Honestly, at this point, I've become a privateer, and I'm dealing with paladins at church, and I really do. I'm really getting sick and tired of having my arm tied behind my back. So yeah, I am chaotic good, but I'm not chaotic fucking evil. Essentially, as far I'm more like fucking Malcolm Reynolds from Firefly at this point.
Yeah, I guess I'm too ordered, but I'm not sure if I'm pretty sure I am ordered, but I don't think I can embrace the chaotic element or the neutral.
I don't think I can not embrace I don't think I can embrace the law at all. Like legitimately, like I have to act like I think a lawman would act in order to be a lawman. That's something that like, so I have a very disruptive and unhealthy perspective of order, let's say.
Yeah, I guess if chaos has to exist, it has to be contained in a safe place. Like a safe space for chaos.
Yep, for creative, it's called creative chaos, Luke.
And the most chaotic place in the for the chaos place in the world is the bedroom.
That and academia.
Oh no! The academia wants to break the bedroom and put the chaos everywhere.
They had the Manhattan Project for a reason.
of sexual minorities. I do not believe that the institution of marriage is materially undermined by being extended to non-heterosexual couples. I have zero respect.
But it's stupid.
You're retarded. You literally are a fucking idiot, Kenshin.
I mean, the only reason we know what a gay marriage is because we know what a real marriage is. I mean, no one looks at that. Oh, that's totally the same as a real marriage. Like, no, it's not. It's a pretend. They are real marriages in the same way a trans woman is a real woman.
And this is another thing that I've talked about specifically with my priest. I swear to you, I feel like I'm going to be bullying the priest, unfortunately. Because at the end of the day, all I want is permission. I want the blessing of heaven. I don't need the forgiveness right now. I just need to fucking have the blessing of heaven to do what I need to do. The problem here is that heaven won't give me that blessing. So I'm sort of stuck. It's like I want to be able to, fight an insurgency, so to speak, a cultural insurgency, but I can't. I keep having my hand tied behind my back.
Yeah, and it's almost like you're on the verge of the Protestantism, but there's something about the order that keeps you in check at least.
Well, it's also the fact that I've said to them, you're going to have to excommunicate me, but if you want to get rid of me.
Oh,
and that way...
you're giving them an excuse?
I'm not going to give them the excuse. because at the end of the day, I do think that what I'm doing is correct. I'm not fucking like I'm not advocating for destruction of our culture. I'm advocating to acknowledge that there are people out there who legitimately will not fucking come to terms. They're not charitable. You can't. And again, I have to stress this: these people are not charitable. And I'm not talking about money. I'm not talking about giving cash. I'm talking about letting people see the other side of the argument and say, "Hey, I agree, I disagree, what have you." They're not like that. They don't understand that in order for you to have a cohesive society, there are certain things you can agree with people, and there are certain things you just can't do it. And we're getting to that point where there are certain people who we can't deal with. There are certain things we can deal with. I mean, look at Destiny, right? Destiny basically saying, "Oh, let's kill Trump." Oh, I wish Trump. Like, he has a right to say these things. I hate to be the guy that says this, but he has a right to say that. But there are so many people who want to deplatform him.
Oh, I mean, he has a right to say them, but it doesn't change the fact that everyone's going to hate him.
Honestly, like, how is Destiny alive? That's what I want to know. Like, on a biological level, how the fuck is that man alive?
I mean, he's a leftist. Of course, he's alive. Why wouldn't he be alive?
But like let's suppose he's a biological materialist, right?
Okay.
Why would you let yourself get caught? Like that would be the thing that I would legitimately argue that, like, if Destiny was like legitimately consistent with his perspective, he'd kill the bull, and he'd fuck his wife for like a week and a half afterwards.
Because for him, it's not about. Cause I'm guessing the reason why he did that is because, like, either a rejection of the order he hated, or just he didn't care.
Which is, if he doesn't care, I mean, that's like a scientific dead end. That's like a dead end, evolutionarily speaking, right? So then why the fuck would he be doing that?
Just like
the man is literally a dead man. He's like a dead man. He's a dead inside.
I mean, that's always been a criticism of him anyway. Even before his whole like scenario, he once on one stream he shared this story about how his friend was so depressed he wanted to kill himself, and he basically said and on stream he admitted, "Yeah, look, I don't want you to kill yourself, but it's your life. You do whatever you want."
It's your life. Do whatever you want. Yeah, don't worry about it.
And then he went ahead, and then the friend went ahead and did it.
Well, I mean, you couldn't stop them. I mean, realistically, you wouldn't be able to stop that guy. Let's see if I can find it here. I can find the actual clip of it.
Before we go, should we finish this video?
Finish it. Continue it.
For unearned authority, and am deeply suspicious of any hierarchy that is not explicitly based on merit and competence and them alone. I do not crave.
Okay,
order,
define those terms. Merit, which again, does that mean academia gets to survive? Because if academia survives and I'm not part of it, I want burnt to the ground.
At the very least, it doesn't appear corrupt.
No, I honestly think it is corrupt, and I really do believe that I get nothing from conceding anything, because I'm so old. All I can think about is the next generation, but I don't want to help the next generation. I want to help myself, because I know the next generation can solve itself out, just like I fucking did.
But and the thing you have to know about governments is that most people don't care. Like, when people say they don't like taxation, the thing is, no one cares about taxation if it's low enough or if the government is not corrupt enough. Like, if the government is not taking money out of you and is not corrupt, no one cares about taxation.
Mike says a stable society needs standards, but the culture thinks that oppression and thinks that is oppression, and cries out, "You're not my dad." Indeed, and that's sort of the issue. Like, I give you an example of this. I say, if I go up to somebody's girl, right, and I hit on her, we all know, and I'm not talking about physically, but like, "Hey, baby, what's up?" And it's clear that you guys are together. We all know what has to happen. You get punched in the face, a sucker punch, a Hawaiian punch, a frickin' whatever the hell. That should happen. The law says otherwise. And if the law keeps treating these people, these other cultures, as just as equal, just as good, you're eventually going to lose to the one that is able to do more within the legal limits of the law. So even if you talk about, let's say, things like zoning laws, people like the libertarians, they hate zoning laws, but there's going to be that one motherfucker who's going to open a strip club right next to a preschool or a kindergarten.
Yeah, that's what we call mid-level violence.
Mid-level fucking violence.
It's you know what mid-level violence is?
No, I don't. Explain.
It's holding your finger in front of your face and saying, "I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you." And that's what the left has always been doing. That's their plan. They push the limit of what they can do, and then they get you to react negatively and make you look bad.
What it is it's like that girl who what the fuck was it? It was that girl back in the day who this is back before the pandemic, granted. She was hitting a cop with a balloon, and then the cop pops the balloon, and then she starts crying. That's exactly what we're dealing with. We're dealing with cry bullies. And the truth be told is it's not really cry bullies per se. It is that, but it's a bit more deeper than that. What they're really trying to do is manufacture the law to make you into a criminal. That's what they're trying. They're trying to turn you into a criminal so they can have an excuse, so they can be morally upright, and you are the piece of shit fascist who's a has a jackboots and crap like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they want.
Chaos. What I fear is a lack of order and an excess of chaos. Like a bird with one wing, a society that fails to strike a balance between the forces of empathy on the one hand and pragmatism on the other will plummet to its death. Western culture is increasingly based on the idea that one of its wings is good and the other is evil. Whichever wing you personally favor is irrelevant. If we do not work together, we will not survive what is coming. And what is coming?
Don't be a one-winged
More on that in
angel.
my next video.
Don't be like Sephiroth. Don't be like Morg. Don't go full Morg on it, people. But you know, besides that, we got other things to talk about.
I mean, also I'm also reminded of the Jedi's interpretation of balance of the Force, because it never when the balance of the Force was first explained in Episode 1, it didn't make much sense because the dark side is always bad, and you're just holding it back. That doesn't sound like balance. That's like making sure the other side is completely wiped out.
Speaking of Star Wars, Millennial Carrie Fisher has stuff to talk about.
Oh, what's this? What's this?
Millennial Carrie Fisher. And you know, Luke, despite the fact that I'm starting to warm up to this chick.
Could you send me the actual link and not the bookmark?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay.
Oh wait, here it is. Sorry, never mind. I got it. It's just
No, I got it.
Millennial. I see it, but it won't let me open it properly. Save it. No.
It's a bookmark, okay, and then I have to send the actual link. 1 second. There we go. Nope, wrong one. I hate this shit, man.
I just play the audio then.
Oh, I hate this shit. No, I absolutely despise the fact that Elon has made this platform worse. He's made it worse by trying to make it better. Just, if it isn't broken, Elon, don't fix it. There's no need for this shit. You know, be like Linux and just run. Just work. Just make it work. That's all you gotta do. I guess he must have deleted it. It's fucking stupid.
I'll just play it here.
No, it's not that.
Listen to what she says.
Our one true God. Dear WayGu, our one.
Why he grew, whatever. Why
There
he
it is.
grew.
Wahi
Dear
grew.
WayGu.
Waterloo.
God.
They're
She
playing to
says it
Waterloo.
right there. Some people are
She's praying to Waterloo like the frickin' song by what is it? The frickin' oh, what the hell the hell is that band? The Dancing Queen song. I can't remember those people. Like Waterloo. That's what we're talking about. Wahiru. Fucking millennial fucking Melanie Mack, the millennial Carrie Fisher of our generation. Sadly, Luke.
says.
Our one true God. Dear WayGu, our one.
Why he grew, whatever. Why he grew.
Dear WayGu, our one true God.
She says it right there. Some people are like, oh, but she's she's talking about our God. She's talking about.
Yeah, politics makes weird bedfellows.
It does, and the sad part here is look at all the fucking 10-gallon hats.
I know, and the cross in the background and the flag.
You've allowed a fucking demon. Like she's unapologetically based, and I like her for that. But at the same time, let's not kid ourselves. I only know about her because apparently she was like stalked by a guy. That's the only reason I know about her. Oh, but she's not wrong.
The one true God. WayGu? Are you retarded? Are you serious? Are you justifying a freaking demon? Oh no, but she's talking about the people. How did people not boo her off the stage?
Well, probably because this is fake footage, and let's not kid ourselves. Nobody wears fucking that many 10-gallon hats indoors. What the fuck is this? A goddamn a freaking country? What is it? A country crock? What the hell is it called? Oh, what the hell is that place you took me to before, Luke? With the
I think they're the representatives of West Virginia.
Oh, jeez.
But I kind of get what she's getting at, but she's kind of sounds like that. She's like the spiritual stereotype of a libertarian. So she's always right, but she never wins.
Yeah, well, that's why we have to start oppressing the fucking pagan. We have to start cracking down and start understanding that they are not us and we are not them, and they can never be us and we can never be them.
And it has to be on the state level because the federal level will not help.
That's as far as we can go, isn't it? I mean, you're talking. You know, what's funny here is that maybe I'm just an idiot who doesn't understand power dynamics. But when I thought of just getting on the state level, I was thinking of the federal level. That's just how I go to the highest court in the land because I just want to make sure my job, my will gets pushed, right?
Yeah, and that's been the default for a lot of people for a while, ever since, like, I mean, Alexander Hamilton started the idea, and Abraham Lincoln basically solidified after the Civil War, because we don't call ourselves the United States of America, we're just America now, and that's a mindset that has to be correctly put in its place.
Fuck yeah. So what else does well, she looks like Dorothy, almost like a goth Dorothy right there.
Pray to a demon. And people are in the audience with their cowboy hats, some of them bowing their head and praying to it. What is going on? Read your Bibles, people.
I mean, to be fair, it is an American political gathering, and now a Republican Party is becoming the coalition party of all these different groups. But of course, where the left is united in their hatred for Republicans are united in their love for their country, or at least their liberty. The left was so bad that this happened. That's how this happened. The left was so bad. We're laying this on this woman on the stage.
Yeah, they let Hulk Hogan on stage apparently.
But that was awesome. Hulk Hogan, that was awesome. I grew up with WWF, and that was awesome.
Biden honestly needs to he needs to get an Ultimate Warrior out. He needs to summon the Ultimate Warrior who would just be as incoherent as fucking Biden.
Oh, but does that not matter now? I mean, hasn't Biden actually walked away?
He has. That is true, Luke. Right. Most recently, he's walked away, and now we have to deal with Kamala Paula Sispumbala.
Oh yes, the diversity hire vice president is going to run against. Wait, is she now the president running mate now? Is she the front runner?
I don't even know what's going on, dude. But I'll tell you this: people like Sticks are talking about like, oh, Biden dropped out. This is wonderful. I'm like, dude, this is very fucking dangerous. If another attempt on, and again, I do not wish death on anyone. I do not wish Biden or even freaking Trump harm. But if Trump gets killed, and let's not kid ourselves, there has to be some level of like, I hope to God that God is protecting him. I really do. But if he gets,
I don't know what God wants Trump alive for, but God wants Trump alive.
Well, let's just hope to God that it's not what Ben Lupacall says about Trump just being a man in time.
Oh, look, one of the first comments is from Adam Krigler. It says, freedom of religion, Republicans isn't just for your religion, it feels rather ignorant of you. And I get the point he's making, but the thing is, when America was founded, the freedom of religion meant Christian religions. Like, they have Christian domination, so they would dominate each other, and that was the implicit assumptions of all of the first colonies. The idea of having different religions like Islam or Hinduism being part of the American fabric was so alien to people. I mean, even ethnicities were like that. I mean, but I think Benjamin Franklin was the one who didn't want more Germans in America because he didn't want to become too Germanic.
Yep, that, and also the fact that you have the Irish and the how shall we say it, the Catholics. They're not, well, like, again, I hate to be the guy that says this little girl, the fucking not Linda Hamill, what the hell's her name? Carrie Fisher over here. I legitimately think she's cute, but she ain't no Catholic. Let's not kid ourselves. She's gothed out, and she's probably one of those girls who thinks blowjobs don't count. But she's not wrong, and you give her points where points are due. Fuck. But besides that,
we thank you for creating America as
created America. This is
I'm curious what her religion actually refers to. Like
Who?
like the woman speaking. Like, what is her actual religion? Like
Sikh.
Oh, how do Sikhs? How do I don't suppose you happen to know Sikh is a creation myth.
Well, I know that Waheguru is a transgender character.
Oh, great.
Yep.
But
Yep,
I mean, we're the traditional transgenders now. No, that flag stuff.
Oh, we're gonna get into traditionalism, buddy. We're gonna get into that shit real fucking hard
Are we
soon.
really going to bring up Carlin Boring Psycho?
Boragita, yes. Little Lamb.
And for those who
Little
don't,
Lamb.
I don't know if we shared this last time. Oh no, this was just this week, wasn't it?
This
Carlin
was just this week.
Borsenko has gone basically unironically gone full Fash. Like she's gone full
Yeah.
Pinochet.
She's gonna start dropping. She wants to get rid of these people in Minecraft, I think, and Warzone 3.
But that's not how that works. That's not how fascism works. I mean, because I've read the Doctrine of Fascism. That's not how it works. And it's just so wonderfully ironic that she's always has Socialism Sundays and doesn't realize that fascism is a form of socialism. And of course, my comment was deleted from her. Like, I think I'm permanently banned from her comment section. But how does she? I mean, I mean, part of me thinks she's ignorant on the subject, but I think she's doing this for attention because I was rechecking her personal history, and she's always doing things for attention.
Yeah, and you know, if the hippo tries to go after the catboy better be very funny or be lucky. Because let's not kid ourselves, the hippopotamus will crush the little kitty cat. She will.
Dear.
It will. Like, these things are violent. I don't care if you're like. I hate to be the guy who says this, but even like a lion like Trump would probably have a run up for his money from the fucking hippopotamus.
Yeah, one of the things I appreciate is like I've been trying to enjoy nightlife, like skirting the nightlife once in a while, and it really makes you. It may not be the same as touching grass, but it's close enough to it. Although the other day I did try to go to a club, and the guy behind me was a ranting idiot.
We're gonna go to clubs. We're gonna have the night at the Roxbury, you and I.
It was interesting. It's honestly, going out is like going to a carnival. It's like you're waiting in line to check out this ride that you may or may not like, and well, of course, what you get out of it is what you put into it. I guess the difference between a carnival ride and clubs.
Well, just make sure the girl has cotton candy.
If she can hear you.
I don't know. Maybe.
Or speak your language, because there's a lot of most of the clubs don't play like English music.
So the real question here is: do you want to play the clip of Karen Borosenko? Do you want to give her?
You call the shots.
Shall we roll a dice? Let's roll a dice. Because why the hell not 1d20? Let's roll a dice. If it's tails. Here we go, Luke. I will send this to you. Here you go. Just type in D20 in the chat. Here you go. Roll the dice. If I get higher, I'll decide, and if you get higher, you decide. Got it?
All right. So
I got a frickin' 6.
So do I roll it or what?
Yes, roll 1d20.
A 1d20.
Yep,
right.
Just 1d20.
And it's 7.
Fuck. Okay, what do you want to do? You want to watch it or you don't want to watch it?
I mean, there are only a couple of it's just the level of irony in this clip is weird because in the beginning she says she unironically wants a dictator, but says she only wants violence in figurative terms. It's like, Carlin, that doesn't work. That's not being a dictator. I mean, you're supposedly an anarcho-capitalist. You understand that the state is the monopoly on power and violence and force. How do you not see this? But of course, she's doing it for attention. She just doesn't care. She likes the edge and the attention she gets. And I remembered recently, like older videos, someone pointed out that she's losing as many subscriptions as she's gaining, and she's just trying to clout chase whatever gets her more views.
So in that case, I take it we're gonna ignore her. All right, off the list you go.
I mean, I do. Part of me wants to make a video about her just because she's a bigger channel than me, but also it's because it's like the negative. Like she talks about how horrible James Lindsay fans are. Like she has a. I mean, she's literally. There is a quotation about Karl Marx that is actually fitting for a character, and it goes something like this: Karl Marx is egotistical to the pitch of insanity. and that his group is a lot of lackeys in a mutual admiration society, and that's what Carlin is. Oh,
Here we go. Instead, we're gonna go to the Scusi Baba the Booby of perennialism.
Evola, what's he up to?
Evola, yeah.
What is the latest reincarnation of him now? Because one of the ways you make an algorithm on YouTube is just make quote unquote factual videos. So what's this about?
Scusi Baba the Booby.
In exploring the
Is she a witch?
Oh, we're gonna look into that. Here you go, Luke. Let me see if I can pull her up.
Let's see. Very pale, dark eyes, long dark hair, and a mirror on the wall. mirror on the wall.
Okay, so our academic. No, she's an academic.
Of course.
Fuck.
In other words, she is a witch.
She's a witch. Yep. Esoteric witchcraft, paganism, shamanism, and the occult. And she has a PhD. She's a puka too. She's a fucking bunny rabbit. She's a little.
Was she is like a doctorate, or what is she like a PhD in?
Oh, well. I'm glad you asked, because people who have PhDs will tell you what they have PhDs in. From her about section, academic study of esotericism, paganism, witchcraft, and the occult. Dr. Angela Puka holds a bachelor's and master's degree in philosophy. Poor thing. In 2021, the University of Leeds awarded her a PhD in anthropology of religion, which will soon be published with Braille. Braille? She fucking blind? Okay.
Her
research focuses.
Blind people need their occult literature, I guess.
Well, how else are they going to transcend the demiurge? I don't know. Her research focuses on magic, witchcraft, paganism, esotericism, shamanism, and related currents. Off the yeah. So there you go. But what wonderful thing she has here is about Evola, materialist magic. Oh, we got Levian shit here. I just found another place we could tap besides spirit science, so we can fuck with this Thea Pagan anyhow. So what she got to say about how do we become a god, Luke? Because we're gonna get to the epic tier soon. Because let's not kid ourselves. This is season 4.
I mean, honestly, if society is moving more pagan tradition, trying to become a god, then we should just do the Mormon way and just have multiple wives.
You fuck Tunchi really did show the line forward. He was ahead of his time.
Well, I mean, that's just for irony's sake. But Joseph Smith argued that unless you practice polygamy in this life, you can't go to heaven. You cannot get exalted in heaven. You cannot get exalted in heaven and become a god. And the operative logic being is that if you don't have goddess wives, you can't make all the spirit babies that live on your planet.
That makes sense if you accept those certain terms.
Of course.
Okay.
the intricate world of Julius Evola's esoteric and philosophical work. The concept of deification, or becoming God, stands as a pivotal interpretative lens. Evola, a figure whose work spans across various realms of thought, integrates the notion of deification not merely as a peripheral theme, but as a fundamental cornerstone of his intellectual pursuit. This concept, while traceable to his early writings, evolves and manifests through diverse symbolic systems, reflecting a rich and complex evolution of thought. Central to Evola's philosophical journey is a relentless quest to transcend the inherent limitations of human existence. This episode delves into how Evola not only sought to understand this transcendence, but also...
keep in mind, Evola is the one. What was the word that Tick used? He was the village idiot to connect fascism to Nazism.
Tradition. Yep. And the sad part here is the village idiot got his ass handed to him by a megalomaniac schizophrenic who happened to be friends with Heinrich Himmler, and that's why we get the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Also endeavored to delineate practical methodologies for achieving such a lofty spiritual state. Through examining key aspects of his work, including his engagement with magic, tantric...
And just a note to her, she might want to adjust her microphone.
Well, pagans don't know how to use technology. They suck.
And spiritual development, we gain insight into the depth and breadth of Evola's vision of deification. Before we dive in, I'd love to remind you to sign up.
Which is kind of weird because pagans kind of need visuals and like they're very visually stimulated and very visually directed. So you think they would at least be aware of that?
Oh, we have a left-hand path online course you could take.
Oh,
Luke.
Is that what this is?
Oh yeah, no. let's see what else we got here. Let's see what
When
else
reflecting.
other
Don't
shit we
rely on the
got.
capricious algorithm and social media platforms that could shut down
Oh,
whenever there is
jeez.
one. By
What's with
signing
the
up for a
fucking-
newsletter, you will always be
God
up to date
damn
with
it.
All the sigils and all the images on the sides, all the glyphs.
All the glyphs, Luke. It's the glyphs.
work and will get access to exclusive content, pictures, insights, and academic research. You will find
Do you
the
have an
bio,
OnlyFans?
the
PayPal, Ko-fi, and Patreon.
This bitch is a fucking beggar.
info box,
Holy
and the
shit.
comment. You will also
I mean,
find
but to be fair, everyone on YouTube is a beggar.
I haven't begged.
Well, I mean, if you, I mean, I eventually will be if I ever get justify a Patreon.
Oh, jeez.
all the ways to support Angela's Symposium, as this project is brought to you by you. Check out all the services I offer on drangelapuka.com and join my inner symposium on Patreon, Coffee, and YouTube memberships. And thank you to the general souls who make this project and knowledge available to all. Now, let the symposium begin.
Oh, intro.
Oh, God.
Hello, Symposiast. I'm Dr.
Wow, that has to be the most tackiest Wiccan entrance I've ever seen. Like,
Fucking Wicks.
what is it? Like, just a red curtain opening up?
The symposium.
Get in the oven.
Hello.
I mean, 92,000 subscribers, 9,000 views. I mean, I guess she's selling something worthwhile. I mean, she's being cheap, I guess, but at this point, you should have some improvement. I don't know how long she's been around. I don't know.
She's been around. Let's see. She's been around since 2019.
4 years ago.
Yeah.
Dr. Angela Puka, Religious Studies PhD, and this is your online resource for the academic study of magic, esotericism, paganism, shamanism, and all things occult. A disclaimer before we start.
Oh
In
my
addressing the
goodness
words of
gracious.
Evola, I wish to clarify unequivocally that this does not constitute an endorsement of his political views. As a scholar specializing in religious studies, my focus remains firmly on the academic exploration of the subject.
You gotta
of
make sure you
I
get those
firmly
checkies.
stand-
Oh, look, here's
You gotta make sure. You gotta make sure the. Oh wow.
This was her 4 years ago.
Luke, maybe. I like the eyes. I mean, I'm a big fan of the red eyeliner, but that's.
Huh? Like, what's the difference? I mean, I think it makes the hair that's tucked back that makes it look more dynamic.
Well, it's also the fact she has frizzy fucking hair, right?
She in this way. She looks more like Wednesday Addams in this.
Oh, she was going for that. I mean, that was popular back then, right?
against fascism in all of its forms. It is crucial to acknowledge.
You oppose fascism, yet you hold to an ideology that would make a cult that's very similar to fascism.
Look at her face, and then look at her skin. You can see her fucking skin, like the pale face she's wearing.
Yeah. I mean,
like, why don't you just save up some money and go get like the actual skin whitening treatment that the Japanese get?
And what people need to understand about fascism is that fascism is take with a little sarcasm, is the perfect government, because everything within the state, nothing outside the state, nothing against the state, hence it is a perfect government. So I don't know why people are so opposed to it, because they don't like the political affiliations with it, and for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
That historical figures like Evola often present complex and multifaceted legacies. While Evola is known for his controversial political stances, it is not my intention to promote these views. Instead, my aim is to critically engage with and understand his...
Yeah, we get it. You don't engage topics, but why are you bringing him up then?
How far are we into this video?
Well, I mean, we only just started, and we're only like 2-3 minutes in.
Wow, we've only got. She's plugged her Patreon twice. She's now doing a disclaimer that I'm totally not into fascism, guys.
Whoa, how long does this disclaimer go for? Like a whole minute?
Whoa, pagan, they're not very good.
Aspects of his work, which hold significance in the history of esoteric thought. The study of controversial figures is essential in academic discourse, not as a form of endorsement, but as a means to critically evaluate and understand different facets of history.
Translation: I want to be politically influential, so I have to put this disclaimer in the front.
Yeah, I have to be able to. I gotta be able to keep up with that crazy cat lady.
With the critical tools to effectively engage and challenge a variety of viewpoints. All right, let's start with our topic now. From his youth, Julius Evola displayed a profound desire to transcend the mundane aspects of life, leading him towards exploring transcendental realms beyond material constraints.
Does that mean he was anti-consumerist?
Oh, he was a hipster, yes.
Yeah.
He was a
you never heard that one before.
He's a fucking hipster, dude. They're all hipsters. All pagans are hipsters.
Yeah, let's put Christ back into Christmas, ignoring the fact that they're the biggest consumers of the world.
Ugh.
In his 1963 spiritual autobiography, Ebola reflects on his inclination towards transcendence as having been evident from his earliest years. His artistic phase, spanning from 1915 to 19...
Did his transcendent phase happen around the same time he would have a sexual experience?
Oh, jeez.
I don't think so. I mean, Antonio, I think Marcuse, Herbert Marcuse, he wanted to have sexual transcendence. Although I personally think that he's like a Casanova. He had a early sexual experience that caused him to obsess over sexual experiences.
So he got the bug then, huh?
Yes, some girl or some guy stimulated him at an early age, and he never shook it off.
Jesus Christ!
Of course, that's
more
my
like Sweeney Todd lady.
That's my speculation. That's my speculation. I don't know if it's true, but it would make sense.
Same old shit. Nothing under the sun.
Marcuse
Exactly.
was a prominent Dadaist in Italy. In his 1920 work Arte Astratta, Abstract Art, written at age 22, Evola articulated his vision of art as a creation emanating from a higher consciousness.
Oh my
capable of
dude!
transcending
First off,
ordinary
he's
experience.
22 years old. Shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear what a 22-year-old has to say. There are certain perennial wisdoms that I know about the world, and you have nothing worth talking about at 22. So shut the hell up, Gregory Peck. But and keep in mind, this is coming from the same guy who said shit like this, because this is what we're dealing with, Luke.
What's this?
Fredo.
Negrified America. Julius Evola. We have recently been informed by the newspapers that, according to certain calculations, half of the population of Manhattan in New York will be of the black race by 1970, and that, of the 5 districts which constitute the city of New York, 28% of the residents will be colored people. Similar developments have also been established for other cities and regions of the United States. We are...
Well, and is that just the result of slavery, or are you implying something else?
Well, let Fredo explain it to him. He's smart, remember. He's smart, guys. He can understand it.
He's
Let
interested in
talk.
transcendence.
Yeah, let him transcend.
And interbreeding and the decline of the white race in the face of more prolific inferior races. Naturally, from the democratic point of view, there is no harm in all this, on the contrary. The zeal and intransigence of those American agitators of racial integration is well known and can but only further reinforce this phenomenon. Moreover, not only are these last not content with advocating total racial
Ebola was a
promiscuity,
gooner
but
again.
Negroes have-
It always goes back to gooning with these Gnostics. Gnostic gooning, Luke.
It's probably
Gnostic gooning is
it's the closest thing they have to a born-again experience, I guess. Being purely materialistic though they are.
I gotta go. You know, one of the things I will say that I still carry with me from high school was there was this one girl who told me about UrbanDictionary.com, and thank God her for it, because now we can actually look at what gooning actually is. Keep going, Luke.
have free access to all public and political office, so much so that we may one day expect to see a black president of the United States.
Well, I mean, the fact that so many people know what that word means makes me a little uncomfortable. I mean,
Oh
the fact
my God!
I mean, and the fact that so many people know what S and M means makes me very uncomfortable.
He was gooning. He was trying to keep his tricks. He was trying to. He would not tolerate communist subversion, communist infiltration, and the international communist conspiracy to sap and purify all his precious bodily fluids.
But also they see no harm in the fact that blacks mix their blood with that of people of their own white race. A typical example of this propaganda is the drama Roots, implying the roots of racial prejudice, which Italian radio has seen fit to foist upon.
Well, interracial marriage happens, but doesn't really happen to the degree that people worry about.
Oh, he just fucking hates Elvis. This is the type of guy who's like, we don't want that degenerate rock and roll shit, buddy. We don't like that. We don't like them showing their legs. We don't like that dirty dancing crap. That's what he's talking about.
On us on a number of occasions. We know that the integrationists, who draw these conclusions from the dogma of egalitarian democracy, as logical and as aberrant as they are partisans of a regime of genuine imposition, even though they speak of freedom about anything and everything. Opposing them still, especially in the southern states, are certain groups who are fighting against the advancement of the black race and its negrification of their country. But these groups are unaware of the extent of the phenomenon, of which they only see the most material and most tangible.
Now, is that
aspects. They do
Italian
not-
nigrification? Is that Italian like Los Negros, like that? Are we talking about Los Negros? Again, it is a. Again, that's Spanish, but again, is he talking about actual? Like, is he trying to be a racist, or is he just describing it because he's a European, right?
Well, I mean, racism. Racism back then was fundamentally different than how we understand racism today. Back then, racism was just a fact of science.
So it was more like Asia, how like we will like have like Italians talk shit to Polacks, and Polacks will talk shit to Romanians, and Romanians will talk shit to the Germans, and Germans will talk shit to the British and whatnot. And it's more like, oh, you're from this part of the world. It's more like gangs almost in a lot of ways than it is like a giant race war, some crap like that.
Oh yeah.
It's like the Polish are gonna fucking own it all, and the Cubans will help them.
Is not only negrified on the demographic and racial plane, but also, and especially, on the plane of culture, civilization, of behavior, of taste, even where interbreeding with Negro blood, properly speaking, is not present. The United States of America has been compared, with good reason, to a melting pot. America is, in fact, one of those cases where, from an extremely heterogeneous raw material emerges a type of man whose characteristics are, by and large, uniform and constant. Men of the most diverse peoples...
Wait, hang on a second. Hang on. So we're a melting pot, but we're all the same. Right.
We all become the same in the melting pots?
I don't know. Gunner's just a Coomer Wojak on steroids. Yes.
America, the same imprint. It is almost always the case that, after 2 generations, they have lost their original characteristics and reproduce a fairly unitary type, as far as the mentality, sensitivity, and modes of behavior are concerned, to wit, the American type. However, in this precise case, theories such as those formulated by Frobenius and Spengler, that there is a close relationship between the forms of a civilization and a kind of soul linked to the natural environment, the scenery, and to the original population, do not seem relevant. If this were the case, in America, the element composed of American Indians, the Redskins, ought to have played an important role. The Redskins were
But it did.
Possessed style.
But who says it hasn't? You know, one of the things you have to understand about Evola when he starts running his mouth about America is he'll talk shit about us not knowing anything about his country. He doesn't know shit fuck all about ours. Like he'll think Idaho is next to New Jersey or some shit. And at the same time, Evola, the metric system is fucking retarded. It is. It's literally retarded. Like, oh, I could divide by 10. Woohoo! You can't half it, quarter, and base it. And guess what? You know what? Base 16 goes to the binary, right? And at the same time, it has more. Just fuck metric, okay? Fuck metric. Keep going.
Dignity, sensitivity, and religiosity. It is not without reason that a traditionalist author, F. Sean, has spoken of the presence in them of something aquiline and solar.
So he's just complaining about like the typical mystical notion of the destruction of the white race or the Aryan race for the sake of political cohesion. Is that what his argument is?
Yeah, he's basically bitching about how the fact that, yeah, that's basically what he's talking about.
And that gives you a whole that gives you a whole new definition. I think James Lindsay made a video recently when it gives you the notion of planned parenting a whole new perspective. Because apparently, when you plan, you have your children, you're actually putting your energy and focus into them, so they'll elevate above you. So they'll actually have the Aryans are like dominant, but then the Aryans will give birth to the race that's above them, and they will rule the universe.
What it really ultimately is it's about securing resources for your next generation. That's what it really boils down to.
And of course, by this metric, the darker your skin is, the more inferior you are. So that's just one of the metrics that always seems to come up in these things.
Well, yeah, it's like the Hindu caste system. There's a reason why it is. And, you know, again, there's a lot of things that are not optimal in societies that are back in in Europe and like the Eurasian landmass. They're really not optimal for America. I don't see people as a statistic. I really don't. People don't there are a lot of people out there who do. Like the atheists will be like, well, atheists are more rational than non-atheists. So like that's supposed to mean something when I'm talking to an atheist, right?
It's not true.
And then it's not true. And you know what you do when you do that? You show them the color of crime, right? You make the motherfucker, you make him own that principle. Because let's not kid ourselves. You say that's hypocritical of you. He says, well, you're a racist. Like, well, you know, you're trying to steel man me, but you're still wrong. So go fuck yourself.
And emotions, and existing independently of them. Emma's artistic works often incorporated alchemical symbolism, reflecting his quest for transcendence and a desire for the absolute self-sufficiency of the self, a concept he saw as essential for true freedom. Influenced by Italian philosopher Carlo Michelstegger, Evola pursued this goal throughout his life, believing in the value of self-reliance and personal power or autarky. Evola's philosophical journey, which he themed magical idealism, was influenced by the German poet Novalis and Italian poet and philosopher Giovanni Papini, whom Evola met in his futurist period. Papini's works, particularly his essay L'Uomo Dio, The God-Man, discuss transformation through processes like those described by Meister Eckhart, involving purification and renunciation of the mundane world.
There was something on that page I wanted to read out loud. See, by writing essays and novels, Panty proposed his own version of pragmatism, described as magical or mystical, and focused on the concept of man-god.
So basically, ethical egotism?
Irreligious, fascinated by the figure of the devil, and confident in the occult sciences, the young Voltairean philosopher was convinced that he could gain supernatural powers and himself become a divine being.
Oh my! So we are dealing with Luciferians.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God! So now we have to. So okay, well we have to kill them right away, won't we, Luke? In Minecraft Warzone 3.
Or we can't. How does this work? And I know it's like that balancing act between doing what is right and doing what is responsible. But dang, I'm really hard. I don't like making these kind of predictions out loud.
What type of predictions?
Just justifying a Pinochet.
To justify a trebuchet, just launch him in a trebuchet. Then don't take him on a
Trump is a '90s liberal. He would never do that.
trebuchet. It'll be like in Lord of the Rings with this trebuchet, fucking orc across the football field. It'll be fine.
That's dehumanization, my friend. Careful. No Fed posting.
Do the feds even know what a trebuchet is?
If they don't, they'll go to 4chan to find out.
They would,
like
wouldn't
those
they?
described by Meister Eckhart, involving purification and renunciation of the mundane world. In 1925, Evola published Saggi sull'idealismo magico, Essays on Magical Idealism, where he developed his concept of magical idealism, integrating philosophical ideas with elements from Henry Cornelius Agrippa, Western historic traditions, Tantrism, and the Upanishads. Evola sought absolute knowledge, free from doubt, achievable only through complete...
From now on, Tantrism is gooning. It is that simple. It literally is just gooning. Thank you, Mike. I fucking understand now. It's the semen retention. It's literally just them like gooning. It's what it is.
Freedom and power were also influenced by John Woodruff, leading him to aspire to the absolute individual, with total freedom, power, and responsibility. He equated absolute freedom with divinity, requiring self-reliance and independence from external factors. Evola's interest in practical applications of his philosophy led him to study the Mithras cult, focusing on
Oh, no, not the Mithras cult. The cult is the transgendered people.
Oh, yeah.
Luke. It's also, funny enough, that they have the Smurf hat like everybody else.
Of its adepts. He saw the Mithraic mysteries as part of the Western magical tradition, offering a...
Yeah, wait, I'm curious, does sex magic just mean just having sex?
Sex magic is basically pimp magic. Pimpin'. It's pimpin', Luke.
Self-realization through 7 stages.
Like every notch on your belt is a notch closer to God or something?
No, you're basically you're making people emotionally tied to you, because like, let's not kid ourselves. Like I've shown you the pictures of that chick before. I've shown you pictures of that girl from California, the one that's crazy.
Uh-huh.
You talked about how, you don't want to fuck her because you might catch something, but you also might catch something spiritually as well. That's the type of power of sex magic, where you basically become the Mac Daddy of these people.
And more importantly, I've come to the realization, I think I mentioned this before, that the marriage ceremony is a formality. Their actual marriage is the sex, because you're becoming one flesh with that person.
Yep. Some P. Diddy shit. Indeed.
Culminating in a state of stillness and illumination. Evola's interpretation of Mithraism was unique and groundbreaking, emphasizing the technical operative phases of realization on the path of deification. Julius Evola's in-depth engagement with Tantrism marked a significant practical step in his philosophical journey. His exploration was facilitated by the translations of Sir John Woodruff, who worked with Indian experts to translate key Indian texts.
Always
Introduced
India.
to Tantrism by Decio Calvari of the Lega Teosofica Indipendente, Evola was deeply intrigued by this Eastern path, leading to a substantial correspondence with Woodruff. Unlike the intellectual or ascetic contemplative paths, Tantrism offered a system of techniques aimed at achieving godlike self-realization and practical self-transformation through one's own power.
Their definition of God is so limited too, because when I think of a God, I think of a person who could snap his fingers and cause food to appear in front of him. But these people think, oh no, it's just a man. It's just the alpha male. Like, that's it.
Well, it's the alpha male that constantly, has to deal with those evil satanic gammas, don't you know?
Mm.
Those evil satanic gammas who reject tradition and embrace modernity. Those people.
In his influential work, Shakti and Shakta, emphasized self-realization through practice, sadhana, as the key to unfolding self-power. Evola interpreted Tantrism as a means to liberate and enlighten oneself, merging
I bet he
metaphysics
fucking
with
did.
self-realization and thought with power. His interest was particularly drawn to the Shakti Tantras and the left-hand path, suitable for
Oh.
the man.
They're always there, Luke.
They were always
It's
there.
they are always there. And you know, the moment that if I go to the RNC, I'm gonna fucking just, I will literally burn the fucking. They'll have to nuke this like the orbit from orbit. That's the only way they'd be sure to stop me. Mike says, I mean, I had a spat with a Jew hater on my kick. They kept asking me to nuke India or Israel, and I didn't give them an answer they wanted. Well, there you go, nuke India. You know, the place is literally a shithole. I've been to places in tech sites that will literally say, "Do not stand on the toilet," and we all know who that's for. It's not for the fucking people from. It's not from the people who are from our culture. Let's say
They're not for the rednecks who live in Appalachia.
and it's not for it's the Frenchmen who use a bidet.
Characterized by an absence of moral constraints. Evola viewed the idea of becoming God.
What was that? What was that?
What was that?
And characterized by an absence of moral constraints.
Wait, hold on.
Evola, his interest was particularly drawn to the Shakti Tantras and the left-hand path, suitable for the Vira, or heroic man, characterized by an absence of moral constraints. Evola.
So it's Ayn Rand before Ayn Rand.
It's Ayn Rand before Ayn Rand. There's a reason why the fucking occultists and all them love Ayn Rand, because you know, the artists will not fear the censor, a place where they will not be chained by petty morality and all. And we all know how it happens. They all become godmen and then drug addicts. They all become drug addicts every time.
The idea of becoming God, often seen as blasphemous in the West, as a legitimate path to knowledge and the destruction of ignorance in Eastern traditions. In his book L'uomo come potenza, Man Has Power, Evola explored the concept of power, Shakti, as primordial cosmic energy and feminine creative force, emphasizing the need for a higher reference point of power, which he saw as a natural attribute of the spiritually strong. Evola's understanding of power was unique, emphasizing its inherent nature rather than its earthly manifestations. He believed that true power operates independently, akin to water flowing around a strong bridge pylon. This concept was also reflected in his political writings. In his philosophical and esoteric works, Evola consistently sought to...
Do people just buy these books because they have nothing better to do?
It becomes like a hobby, doesn't it? It's like you have to collect them all so that way you can feel more enlightened and shit. I mean, look at that shit. She has that freaking background, which I don't know if that's even real, but it probably is. Because let's not kid ourselves. Pagans tend to care more about material things than Christians do. So because of that, they actually burn the extra hour of oil during work so they can get, you know, things that never fucking were.
Well, to be fair, having books on a shelf is better than having figures on a shelf.
Touche. I mean, let's not kid
Well,
ourselves.
I mean, maybe one figure on the side just to show that you're not completely a complete bookworm.
Yeah, I mean, I have a few stands and like a few figures, so to speak, but not. I have a hell of a lot more books here, you know.
Achieve spiritual self-realization, equating it with becoming God. This process involved purification, identification with higher states of consciousness, and ultimately unification with the highest principle, leading to absolute freedom and spiritual immortality. Evola's approach to Tantrism, high magic, and his involvement with the group of Ur was characterized by a practical, systematic path to initiation, focusing on self-transformation and liberation from material constraints. Evola's exploration of Tantrism and other esoteric traditions was underpinned by his belief in a primordial source of all true initiatic paths, a concept shared with Perennialism. His works on magic, alchemy, and Buddhism were based on these principles, emphasizing the universal steps towards liberation and immortality. Evola's interpretation of Tantrism, therefore, was not just a philosophical speculation, but a practical guide to achieving transcendence and self-realization. In his exploration of alchemy, which Evola discusses in his book The Hermetic Tradition.
Oh boy, here we go.
Here we go, Luke. It's the same people every time.
An ancient art, prevalent worldwide, that focuses on transforming humans into divine beings. Evola, in his spiritual autobiography, interprets the alchemical process as an initiatory transformation, where the alchemical goal symbolizes an immortal and invulnerable state of being.
He looks like a dipshit, Luke. He looks like a smug dipshit, like somebody who's like, Can we like put a grin on his face? Like you know those fucking like those YouTube thumbnails where like they take a character and like they give him like a really weird grin? That's the type of person I think Alola would look like. A shit-eating grin. And it probably, given the fact that he's trying to transcend shit, he might have actually done it.
Through
Eating
a
shit.
procedure. This book, a culmination of ideas previously presented in the Ur and Krur booklets, is a comprehensive work rich in classical alchemical and hermetic questions, illustrating Evola's pathway to the Philosopher's Stone, a symbol of immortality, liberation, and divinization. Evola draws from various sources in the hermetic tradition.
These people believe that magic was science. Like, oh my, ugh.
These people exist.
And they still exist to this day, and they sometimes parade themselves as scientists. Like, ugh.
It's fun to fuck with these people until you realize they can vote. and you know, there's a reason why we have to get rid of these people. Here we go, Luke. We talked about this guy last time, I think. I'm not sure if we did, but I gotta keep going.
Sargon or the one he's talking about?
Let's see. Sargon.
Let's see.
Human sacrifice is simply something that the human race does, whether we like it or not. In almost every era, there is some kind of ideology which prescribes.
What? Wait. You're not alone. 980 Suicide Crisis Hotline. Why is this under this video?
What? No, you know, it's funny you bring that up because I started seeing some weird shit from the YouTube algorithm as well. Like they were there. I think it was either Mike. I think it was either Donut Operator or Brendan Herrera or Grand Thumb, who tried to replicate the shot that was made on Trump, right?
Oh yeah, I saw. I sent to that.
Yeah, and it said the assassination of Ronald Reagan. I don't know what the fuck. Why the fuck are we talking about the assassination of Ronald Reagan when it comes to Trump? It got community noted. Like, what the fuck? YouTube? Are we really that far gone? Shit.
Describes, justifies, and sanctifies death. And in the modern era, it's very clear that that ideology is the most extreme left-wing form of liberalism, which leads left-wing parties to become the parties of death for the democratic age. The classic example of human sacrifice comes from Mesoamerica.
Oh, and keep in mind, Sargon's on this kick where he's talking about traditionalism over liberalism, and he's really focusing on liberalism. Like the two things from liberalism was the blank slate and the state of nature, which are obviously not true. Of course, you could just miss those, but he believes those are the foundations of creating communism.
In which the Aztec and the Mayan civilizations literally sacrificed war captives to nourish and placate the gods to ensure that the sun would indeed rise again the next day. The sacrifice was for a higher purpose, a divine ideal, and was concerned with the correct ordering of the cosmos. It was as much a moral act as it was a temporal one. The general shape of their thoughts was that there is a metaphysical plane in which morality is held to reside, and the real world ought to map closely to this plane in order to resemble it. Only in this way can our world be said to be righteous, proper.
So they were Platonists.
They were basically idealists who wanted to bring the ideals down to earth. They wanted a chicken.
Or technically bring the earth up to the heaven. Bring the earth up to the ideals.
Indeed. Oh, yeah, they want to be held up to a higher standard. Don't you know? That's how they. What? That's what that is.
It fits so well. So it's like a. It's a wonder. It's a delight in speculative thought when you hear a word that has a dialectic meaning, has a speculative meaning.
you know, allegorical. I don't know. Keep going.
And just. The moral shape of our world must be brought into alignment with the spiritual world, so it might intersect with our own and infuse the ordering of our world with the moral substance of the other world. Finally, then, can we have peace of mind that our world is a good world. Sacrifice, therefore, changes the ontological status of a civilization. The sacrifice takes them from being fallen, immoral, and subject to divine wrath by failing to uphold the mandates of the gods, to being in the favour of the gods, to being just, ordained, and upstanding. A human life must, in cold blood, be taken for the moral order to be restored and maintained.
Somebody has to die. Who's it going to be? Now, skip ahead a bit.
It's definitely not going to be the priest.
It's not going to be the priest. We're going to sacrifice him to the volcano god.
So where do we start? Where do we go to?
There we go. Right there.
If morality loses touch with the real world and must be brought back into line.
Oh, that explains the thumbnail. My body, my choice. Well, then, then talk about your body, not the baby's.
Well, he's trying to make a pro-life argument, but the problem here is that he's an atheist. He has not, like, I honestly think that if we got a chance to talk to Sargon, we could probably make him a believer, given all the shit we know and all the crap that we've experienced and all the just insane, like, what the fuck is this? Like if you just explain to him the spiritual leftist bullshit that's going on, he'll become a believer. He'll go running to the church.
But that's the thing, though. Like, you know that weird quirky couple video I sent you before.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, they recently made a video talking about their transformation from their own, like, their kind of atheism to religion. But the thing is, they didn't really embrace the religion. They're kind of lapsed Mormons. They kind of embrace the weird quirkiness of Mormonism, but they're not fully Mormon, because they say, oh, they just work. They autistically rationally realize, no, God has to exist. But the problem that other people have, like atheists, that they have, is realizing when atheism doesn't suffice their arguments, they don't want to go back to the old religions, because religion has too much of the baggage of, oh, it's not scientific.
Well, yes, the religion itself is not scientific, but the people who follow the religion can be.
Oh no, but that's not the point. They want a religion that is scientific, that doesn't violate their quote unquote scientific sensibilities.
Well, it's not even science that they like. It's the fact that they could say, "Well, you're irrational if you don't follow what I have to say." If you don't follow what I have to say, you're irrational.
Well, no, it's like with when Ayn Hirsi Ali recently rediscovered Christianity, and even after Richard Dawkins denounced the fact, lamented the fact that Ramadan is celebrated in the UK, he just turned to her and said, "So you actually believe that there was a virgin birth?" And
shut the fuck up, Dawkins. The correct response is shut the fuck up.
That's the hurdle he's having. Because Sargon embracing the church is because his devotion is to this kind of this scientific positivism and rationalism, and whether or not he'll actually embrace the church again is another thing entirely.
Honestly, I do not like Dawkins. I don't like Dawkins. I don't like any of these guys because they made atheism about them.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Tuck says, I went from seeing Sargon from skeptic to occult moldbug reactionary. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks that he's going through that shit. He's going through his warp arc, as I like to call it, because he is dealing with the warp. We're dealing with people who are more in common with the villains in 40K than the actual fucking the heroes in it, if you could even call them that.
The distributist started off as a skeptic. Oh no, not his channel though. But before he was a distributist, he was kind of a skeptic. He
was a guy who went to the freaking steampunk conventions. That's what he self-admittedly, he went to steampunk conventions. And if you know anything about the steampunk conventions, these guys are, well, they're all leftists essentially. I mean, I saw steampunk back in, I want to say 2010, 2011 get infiltrated. I saw it right before my eyes. I mean, you had people like freaking, what was his name? Steam Girl Kato and her boyfriend or her husband, who was in an open relationship, by the way, still. And they were both like the big one, the big in girls, the it girl of, and he was the it guy, I guess, of steampunk. You know, so there are a lot of leftists out there. Vinny says Sargon definitely getting shadow banned. Pretty sure I subbed him. I haven't had any notifications. Well, here's the thing, Vinny. He has multiple channels now. It's not just Sargon of Akkad. It's also the Lotus Eaters, where he has like daily show, so to speak.
Yeah, the Sargon channel only gets he only updates it like once every week or once every other week now.
Yep. And we get this like we get the new Sargon always has, let's say, the Mega Man villain, the Mega Man first boss fight villain, where he's moving and you have like Mega Man fighting to shoot the big guy with the plasma rifle or whatever. Keep going.
Or else the world becomes an unjust place, where the human suffering of being forced to mature into an adult who cares for their own child is thrust upon a woman against her will. Her ontological status changes. She is no longer free. She is now a mother, and tied down to obligations and duties which she did not wish to adopt. In order to free her of this burden, abortion takes the place of a holy right in liberal theology, as it accomplishes a moral goal rather than a practical one. If a woman is unable to terminate the life of her unborn child, then she is subject to evil and immoral outcomes because her freedom of choice is being inhibited. A woman's right to choose death...
Abortion is a right, says the ACLU. Well, then the ACLU is evil, so I don't care.
Yeah, and again, here's the thing, like, There are people who would agree that, what was it? In the 90s, it would be safe, legal, and rare, right? These people are shouting their abortion, for fuck's sake. These people, I mean, look at it. Don't tread on me. I mean, what the fuck? At some point, you have to say, it should be seen as a tragedy. You're killing a human life. And even then, like, sometimes you don't have to kill the kids. You could just give them up for adoption. You'll go through pain, but that's part of the natural consequences. There's an actual argument for that. Yep, I was a fan, but he went full trad Catholic monarch loving Molebug fanboy. Yeah, Molebug is not. Well, here's the thing, Molebug and the rest of those guys were very much into the occult as well. So they're not even they're Catholics because they love the idea of having people swear fealty to them. That's why they're so evil. Yeah.
Their own progeny is, for the modern liberal, a sacred act of sacrifice. If a woman is unable to terminate the life of her unborn child, then she is subject to evil and immoral outcomes because her freedom of choice is being inhibited. A woman's right to choose death for her own progeny is, for the modern liberal, a sacred act of sacrifice. If a woman is not able to choose and has her will thwarted in this way, then the cosmic order of the liberal universe is misaligned, and a terrible injustice has been wrought. In these circumstances, it is only the moral act of a human sacrifice that can bring the real world back into alignment with the liberal metaphysical plane and reinfuse our reality with the moral substance that will put the liberal's mind at ease. We see this in the reaction to the repealing of Roe versus Wade and the restoration of the question of abortion being returned back to the states. If this was simply a question of practical matters, then even the most ardent pragmatic defender of abortion would shrug and say, well, they made their beds, they will have to give birth in them, and go about their day. However, pro-abortion activists instead found themselves in a horrendous position, lamenting the lack of moral rectitude that had befallen the United States. There were some places in their country where women were not entitled to sacrifice their own children to restore the moral order of the nation. Needless to say, this will trouble them forever, and they will never let it go. As with the Mayans and the Aztecs, death is a core part of their moral system, and the inability to sacrifice a human life to restore the moral order makes them feel that the world is fallen, brought to calamity, immoral, and in need of purification. Child sacrifice is, of course, not the only aspect of death that the left seeks to leverage in order to make our civilizations fully in line with their own moral view of the universe. There are many other ways in which people must be sacrificed. Euthanasia is the latest moral fad to sweep liberal thought, because another
The
core
moral
pillar of liberalism
fandom.
Moral fad? What?
The moral fad. It's a moral fad, Luke.
How? What? How?
Because it's so hard to live. I want to kill myself. I'm not just an edgy teenager. Life sucks. Wear a hat. Oh.
Maybe you should try to euthanize yourself after you completely fail to reproduce. You at least try to do the bare minimum of a basic human being.
Well, I mean, look at Destiny. That doesn't leave much room for Destiny, does it?
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, he was just a pure hedonist, though. He didn't seem to try.
I mean, we really are dealing with the Meldemanayans with these people. They don't care about morality. They don't give a fuck about any of this shit. They don't care about. They just want to get their rocks off and burn everything to the ground. They're literally chaos lord. They're literally forces of chaos, guys.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, God Emperor's not too good either.
At all costs. Suffering in pre-liberal thought was understood to be an intrinsic aspect of life. All people would, at some point, suffer. Christianity taught that suffering was to be endured in order to reach a higher spiritual plane, and therefore prohibited suicide as a sin. Suicide inflicts terrible emotional pain on the victim's friends and family. To kill yourself is to leave a void in the hearts of those who love you, forcing them to forever wonder if there was something they could have done differently, whether it was somehow their fault. However, to the modern liberal, if a person is suffering in any way, then the moral thing for the liberal to do is simply to encourage them to end their own life. Instead of enduring the pain for the sake of...
I think Destiny actually did you tell me, like, Destiny, like, told somebody to kill themselves, and then, like, he's like, I can't tell you what to do, guys, so you gotta go do it yourself. I mean, I can't tell you how to live your life, and he just does it.
Yeah. But it's kind of weird, though, because at first it was, if you don't acknowledge my existence, if you don't, like, it's kind of like this weird, having it both ways, having your cake and eating it too, which is also another thing that Karl Marx doesn't understand. That on the one hand, if you don't acknowledge my pronouns, you're denying my existence and encouraging me to end myself. It says, oh, well, if you're suffering, you should just end yourself. Like, well, which is it?
Is death good or bad? Yes. That's the correct response.
Well, no, technically I have to say it's bad because it's against the creation of life. Although the Ecclesiastes says there is a time to live and a time to die, a time to kill and a time to heal.
Yeah, Sargon blames America for the UK's culture wars, but he can't do anything. Exactly, and the biggest problem with Sargon, and this is something that a lot of people don't realize this. This is why I've actually constantly called out the fucking activists from other countries like Lauren Chen, Lauren Southern, and whatnot. Even Sargon, they have bigger fan bases in the United States than they do actually in their own area. They literally do. You know. Here you go, Luke. I actually found this one interesting. So we're going to talk about the CrowdStrike thing, and this is an example of why the path forward is through technology and innovation. Because these pagans suck at technology.
Oh,
the left can't mean, but the right can encrypt. But I guarantee you, the moment the right can encrypt is the moment we win the game.
Where do we start?
Let's see. Let me find it. Let's see if there's actual. Okay. I guess the mouse man didn't post it yet.
Which is possible. Usually not a problem.
5 minutes in.
He probably loses. He's well behind in the polls. He's not doing too well physically and mentally. He can't really step to Trump. It's not really possible for him to do so. So if he runs, he probably loses.
Not there. Not
also,
there.
He's lost.
So where in particular? Dashing, you still with us?
I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Are we playing here or not?
We're not playing here. I'm looking for it right here.
Ah.
Okay, so 17 minutes in.
17 minutes in.
Word that half the people guarding him weren't even Secret Service at this point. They were Homeland Security intelligence agents or something like that. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I don't know what the fuck is going on with the Democrats. The only order, this is the weird thing, and this is new to me because I've been around since, the Clinton-Bush eras. The Republican Party's political...
Huh?
20 minutes, about 19 minutes and 45 seconds in. Sorry about that.
It's like, if you send me $1, you're still sending me money. Anyway, CrowdStrike. There is a link in the description that I want you to take. There's a series of videos on Rumble. Donald Trump weighed in on CrowdStrike some time ago. I'm not going to go through this entire thing, but it appears that he was correct fundamentally about the problems there. And by the way, funniest story that I've seen all year. Southwest Airlines refuses stubbornly, and has ignored Microsoft, to update its operating systems that it uses for, doing everything that it needs to do. They refuse to update their servers. As a result, they're one of the only major airlines that's currently in operation over the United States. By the way, I'm very glad that I came back to the U.S. when I...
Here's the issue, though. He doesn't understand why they don't upgrade, right? He doesn't understand it. Again, the right cannot encrypt for the life of them. They don't understand that some of those programs that are running Windows like 3.1 or whatever, they're running that because they can't buy, there's no replacement hardware to run, let's say, the satellite radar or what have you. It's there because the technology that they have to run their system, to take it offline and to reinstall it, to go through the bugs and all that crap, it doesn't exist. So these guys have to use stuff from the 80s to still function today. So it's not that they can't upgrade to Windows 11, because if they do, then it won't work on the hardware, because it's literally like running like a 800 megabits, like a gigahertz, just 1 gigahertz, one single core gigahertz. That's what you're dealing with. So he's like, oh, they can't do it because they had a choice. They didn't have a choice, Tarl. They didn't have that choice. So a lot of these guys who upgraded their infrastructure, which they did the right thing, they got screwed over by CrowdStrike. Now, what do you know about CrowdStrike? What have you heard from the alternative MSM, Luke?
Nothing whatsoever.
Nothing? You haven't been looking into this?
It wasn't a blip on my radar until now.
Okay, so you do know what happened, right? So there was a bad update that was pushed from this major, I would say, it's a major, how shall we say it, antivirus. Mm-hmm. And this antivirus is it's like a corporate professional grade antivirus that pushed it out, and it basically bricked a whole bunch of machines around the world.
Oh.
They have blue screened. Yeah, blue screened. And in order to undo this blue screen, you have to physically be there to undo, to go into recovery mode. And from recovery mode, you uninstall the update, and then it restores. Here's the issue, though. A lot of these servers are hidden. They're far away. You have to usually you would remotely access them like SSHN, and then do what you need to do to repair them, and then you'd move on. But these machines that are bricked, you have to physically go to the physical location, which could be anywhere, by the way, and then apply the patch. That is like, this legitimately could cost people money.
Speaking of viruses, my computer tells me I have to update my antivirus.
Oh, really? Who?
The antivirus is the real virus, I think.
Well, yeah. The Skynet is the virus, isn't it?
So now, what's the issue? Like, all the
He thinks
everyone's like, what's the point of this? Like, also only this airplane service can work now, or what's the deal?
Oh, the deal is that only the ones that did not receive the update from CrowdStrike can work, and the reason why the CrowdStrike didn't get updated on, let's say, some of these older Southwest Airlines servers, because it was too new of hardware software.
Okay, so I got that from what he was saying, but what is what's the result of that? Like, are people boycotting, or are people like complaining about the update? Like, what's happening now?
Well, they can't. If everything gets boycott, if everything gets blue screened, you're not going to be able to fly. You're not. Your bank will get affected. Everything will get affected, Luke. Well, this is a corporate thing.
Yeah, I understand. I get that. So, is there are they demanding Microsoft undo all the updates?
Yeah, there's hell to pay. People are the conservatives are saying it's a cyber attack. I'm telling you, no, it's a bad update. This shit happens. This shit happens, but the right can't encrypt, so they have to make it about something else. He has to go back to links in the description, guys, right? Go back to when Trump was talking about CrowdStrike. And I'm thinking to myself, how is that relevant to now? This literally is just a bad update, and they happen. I've had instances where you have, let's say, a university, and they didn't check and test the patches, so when they updated they updated the network and all the Windows machines, they lost USB connection. So they had to physically go with the PS2 PS2 keyboard from place to place, and then undo it, because they couldn't have access. They didn't have access with a USB mouse or a USB keyboard. They lost that because they didn't do the testing. And it was like hell on earth. I guarantee you, people, someone got fired, but that's just one university, right? Imagine the entire world.
Oh boy, it's like
yeah.
Y2K actually happening.
Indeed. So besides him not understanding technology, let's see. Vinny, he says, would you this would be a better convo if you had Beyond Dashing. It would be interesting, but I can't get you on right now. Not tonight, dude. At some point. I've been a fan of Dashing Rogue for years, like before Davis Rooney went insane. He did went insane, and sadly, it's all good. I've worked with Dashing for many years. He has worked with me. Besides that, well, speaking of California, here we go, Luke. This is sad. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave.
Oh, pure evil. What is this?
Imagine your surprise if you are just minding your own business wherever you are, Ohio, Alabama, Texas, and all of a sudden your local constable is like, guess what, sucker, California says you're not allowed to have any guns anymore. Give them up. We are launch attorneys today. We are
I come again.
This scares the shit out of me, because as somebody who's ran away from my hometown because I can't. I mean, they literally kicked me out. They literally put in gun registration on the city level, and I'm like, no, goodbye, see you. I'm not gonna can I opt out, please? Okay, so I can't opt out, but I have to follow the rules anyway. Okay, in that case, I'm leaving, and I did it, and I'm so far kicking ass, taking names. But now they want to take my guns from me, even though I'm not in their fucking state anymore.
talking about how the state of California has just exercised its red flag power over the citizen of a different state. We're going to talk about how California is managing to strip gun rights for people who potentially have never even been to California. We're going to talk about how this is or is not legal and how we think it's all going to play out and how we fight this. But before we get started, show your support for the Second Amendment by hitting the like button. And today's sponsor is BOS Lock. If you have children in the house, we have an incredible new solution. Meet BOS Lock, a revolutionary biometric firearm safety device designed for home use.
With exceptional accessibility.
What
and security,
happens if the
BOS Lock
electricity
uses
goes
enhanced-
off? Or you run out of batteries? I don't know. They're just trying to sell you something. Keep going.
Good for them.
And, yep.
For the rest, visit them at www.boslock.com. Use code ARMS24 for $10 off plus free shipping.
All right. I think we saw this one coming, and we warned ya.
We warned ya.
And here we are. As part of the new National Extreme Risk Protection Order Act, we saw that released by the Department of Justice. They're giving tons of money to states, all these kind of templates to go off of. We're starting to see these templates being utilized in kind of the usual suspect states that are hostile to the Second Amendment. And, for the most part, we think, hey, thank God I live in, red state. This doesn't apply to me. Well, we have some bad news. It may very well, you may get dragged into all this because we have seen it happen. We have actually a real world case we're going to discuss with you. But to know how insidious this is like a multi-tentacle monster.
Mm-hmm.
And so, think about this. You're going to the gun store, going to go purchase a firearm. They query the next background check system, and you get denied because you have gotten a red flag out of a state that you haven't been to, or maybe haven't been there in a decade, or you haven't been there recently, because they have entered an extreme risk protective order against you.
Right. So, bear in mind, it's not as though you get...
So I
served that
could
order, they
literally.
take your gun,
So
and then there's
what
no-
you're saying here is that if I wanted to put a restraining order on, let's say, I don't know, Steven Crowder, I could literally now cuck him out of his Second Amendment rights.
What?
He may have never been in California. He may have never lived in California. He may have just been there and was visiting because he was the brain on freaking Arthur. No, true story. Steven Crowder was a freaking a voice actor for Arthur's friend Brain. I'm not even joking. It could just be that, and now they can't. Now he's going to lose all his guns, and he can't buy guns. It's insane. This is way too much of a power grab. Honestly, at the end of the day, what's going on is it's the power of how should we say it? It's the power of the federal government combined with the cultural influence of California, and that just scare the shit out of you. I'm 100% pro Second Amendment, by the way. I'm an extremist, FYI, for those who want to know. Keep playing, Luke.
No enforcement mechanism afterwards. Everybody knows that order is entered, and it affects you in your carry, it affects you in your purchase power. It is, once it's there, it's there.
Yeah, and it's the process of getting something taken out of this. So we have the National Instant Criminal Check System. It queries several different databases, the NCIC, the National Crime Information Center, the III, the Interstate Identification Index. Some of these state background check systems feed into a legacy system. So we have all these little databases that feed into the NICS system. And once some information gets inputted in the states, these things feed into the databases that feed into the NICS check. And it is a complete web, very difficult to untangle should information find itself in there. And so that kind of what brings us to this horror story.
Yes. So California uses, we will link in the description below a video in which we checked out New York's checkbox system for taking your guns away. California uses something very, very similar, where, you just show up, and this one is specifically for domestic violence, and you say, this person is check dangerous, check has guns. It is very, very easy, very simple. You just check boxes. It is very, very easy.
Yeah, but it's not a peace officer, because, when we think about this stuff, there's different levels to it, and there's some states that have quite a bit, we don't like red flag, but at least there's a whole heck of a lot of due process and hoops people have to jump through. And then on the other end of the spectrum, we have unsworn declarations by anonymous third parties. That's like the nightmare scenario. And this is pretty close to nightmare, where a person can go in, check boxes, no peace officer is reviewing any evidence to determine whether probable cause exists, neutral magistrate is reviewing to see if, cause exists to find this person is a substantial likelihood of danger to themselves or others. So there's very little due process involved in this, especially in the California system. Mm-hmm. And then we kind of find, all right, so you got your little checkbox system. You've made it extremely easy for individuals to infringe on other people's, fundamental constitutional rights. And Edwin Walker, I'll say, he was warning about this.
Imagine if your ex-girlfriend tried to do this to you. Imagine if your ex-girlfriend said, "You know what? You're an abuser. I'm gonna, say you're a rapist and a pedophile, and you have guns, and you vote for Trump, and you're a fascist, and evil, and poopy, and evil, and demonic, and what?
How is this not illegal? Like just making
We're
up
an anarcho-
just making up charges and then imposing them in other states.
Well, it's not even that they're being charged. That's the thing that's so fucking sad is that it's the accusation is the evidence in this regard. Enough to, like, it's a red flag warning. So you didn't even break the law. You just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And you also pissed off the wrong people. Fucking insanity, mate. So that's an example of why we could check on any time we like, but we can never truly leave. We can never really get the hell out, you know?
Okay, like the only place more dangerous than Washington D.C. is California. Like they're trying their best to substitute Washington D.C.
Yeah, they are. They absolutely are.
This just reminds me of this clip here.
And that's when Clarence Thomas forced me into his chambers and showed me lewd pictures.
Mr. Griffin, we have indisputable evidence that not only have you never been in the same room as Clarence Thomas, you've never been in the same state. How do you respond to that?
Baba Booey, Howard Stern's penis, Baba Booey, Baba Booey, Baba Booey.
Baba Booey, Gavin Newsom's penis.
Ooh,
Gavin Newsom's penis. This is how far we've come with AI.
Oh, hold on a second. Oh, this will be fun. I love AI. I love it. This will be fun.
This is how far.
Oh. Well, I mean, you can see it.
Hey, Vinny.
Yeah, it's meme magic will never be the same.
It's all good, Vinny. It's all good. We'll get you on at some point in the near future. How did you actually get? I didn't realize you had the ability to join. We'll get you on at some point in the near future. It's all good. We'll talk about it at some point because we gotta get you on at some point because I left 2 years ago. It's not the same state. It's not the place I grew up, and I had to leave. But you know there are people there who are good people, like yourself included, man. And again, there's nothing we could do at that time. I really want to come back. I really do want to come back. But the problem here is that these people have, you know, they have, they destroyed my state. The how shall we say it? The acting kids, if that makes the drama scheme has taken over. That's what has happened. The drama kids have taken over. All you know, the kids in high school had the drama club. They're running everything. Yeah. Keep playing. Oh, God. It looks so bad, but at the same time, let's not kid ourselves. Trump's a little bit heavier than... But, you know, the Agent Smith part looks really good.
Yeah, if he just made him a little fatter, it would be more fun.
Yeah.
Even more hilarious. Like Trump in his current mask doing all that stuff.
You left? You left? Vinny, you left California. Oh, goody. Shit. Feels like it. Well, man, we'll talk sometime. We'll talk about it, because I guarantee you have probably had your final straw. Thing that radicalized you. Yep, I'm afraid Texas, my home state will... Okay, we'll talk about that at some point later on. Like, he doesn't like me talking, I guess. Keep going. It's My Hero Academia shit. Obama.
Zuckerberg?
Zuckerberg. Nevada's the next best place, man. Nevada's the next best place. Nevada, and then I would also like Arizona's pretty good. I like it, although I don't know. I think Nevada's a bit hotter. It's humid. I think I'm not sure. Is it humid out there, or it's a dry heat down here? I know that.
Now we're having a little bit of monsoons now, aren't we?
Yes.
It was raining and thunder cracking outside my house.
Oh shit. Well, in that case, it's almost 10 o'clock, so we could kind of end it here, but there are a few other things I wanted to cover real quick. J.D. Vance, right?
Oh, yeah. How's that turning out?
I don't trust him. but I don't trust anybody. So that you take it that what you will. Especially when you have JD Vance talking, with Jack.
Yeah.
Jack the Cuck Murphy, everyone's favorite, Slaneshi worshiper.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Like, he's kind of disappeared, hasn't he?
Yes, he has, and now for him to come out of the dark ether is very peculiar, especially after his last run-in with the Walrus.
James Lindsay shared this.
Yes, James Lindsay he's woke to the woke.
What do you mean by that?
He understands that that we're dealing with people on the right who really honestly are opportunists. They don't have any convictions. They don't have any convictions. They don't have any. They have no standards. They literally want to censor people and take control of the administrative state.
It's not they're opposed to socialism. They just want the socialism they're in charge of.
Well, what they really want is they want to be able to have the cultural norms. Like, I've told people, like, I've said things like how if somebody hits on your girl, you should have a right to hit them. You should have a right to defend that. You should not have like a monopoly on force in this regard, because then there'll be people say, well, if it isn't legal, it's acceptable, and you have to be able to have some level of protection against it. Hell's this?
This was James Lindsay has a habit of referencing Lord of the Rings, but there are certain lines in Lord of the Rings that should have been in the movie, like when Gandalf refused to take the ring. What he should have said, "If I had the ring, I'd be given to pity. I would give in to pity and become a tyrant more horrible than any before."
Is that what he said?
Yeah, because at first he said I would take the ring from a desire to do good, but through me it would be a power too. I would have a power too great. I become a power too great and terrible to imagine. What he should add was, if I had the ring, I would give in to pity and become a tyrant more horrible than ever.
Wow.
And of course, when Boromir says, "We should take the ring and use it," and it says, "No, you cannot use the ring." And that's the thing: you cannot use the deep state. You cannot use these people. These people are the problem, and you can't use them.
Yeah. So what does Jack have to say?
Created a very powerful chief executive, a very powerful president, but if he can't even fire the people in his own administration, like, is this really a successful republic? So a lot of conservatives have said we should deconstruct the administrative state. We should basically eliminate the administrative state. And I'm sympathetic to that project, but another option is that we should just seize the administrative state for our own purposes. We should fire all of the people. I mean, I think Trump is going to run again in 2024. I think he'll probably.
I think one of the things in the 2025 agenda, which Trump doesn't endorse, is like people saying, "Oh, how dare Trump's?" A lot of people on the left are saying, "Oh, this is Trump's agenda. He wants to fire all the people in the bureaucracy and put them with his people." Like, and that's kind of the point. That's what you've been doing this whole time.
Jeez, man.
But so I have mixed. On the one hand, I mean, it's kind of like the whole joke about the Game of Thrones. The throne still persists, and the power of the throne is still there. And it's like, yeah, we're going to use the throne to our benefit, but the throne is still there. Like, we.
Well, until the dragon's like, you know what, Jon Snow, it's not your fault that you killed Daenerys Targaryen. It wasn't the fact that she was fucking insane because when she smelled the fucking shit smell of King's Landing. No, it's this evil throne. Let me burn it for you, then I'll fly away.
And that's the only ending we're going to get.
Fuck.
Win again in 2024, and he'll win by a margin such that he will be the president of the United States in January of 2025. I think that what Trump should do, like if I was giving him one piece of advice, fire every single mid-level bureaucrat, every single.
Although, how nice it is to have a vice president that actually has a beard.
Honestly, dude, I don't trust any of these guys because they're talking about censoring the net.
Yep.
A lot of these guys, a lot of these conservatives want to censor the net, and the problem here is I'm not against it in principle. I do believe that pornography is an issue, but here's the thing: it's one thing to have administrative power over, let's say, your children, which you should if you give your kid unrestricted access to the internet. I know people who give their kid access to credit cards so they like charge and buy like $2,000 worth of fucking Fortnite crap. Okay, there's a lot worse crap out there, but these people, they keep receiving. They keep expecting the daddy government to be the parent for them, and that's not going to work. It's easier for you as a let's say a father of, let's say, 2 or 3 people, right? 2 to 3 people, 2 to 3 kids, you can manage that. Let's say you have the oldest is a boy and then the youngest is a girl. You could build access protocol information for those particular. You can, let's say, let the kid go to like Tumblr. If God help you if you do, but you don't let the younger kid go to Tumblr. Let's say, and you can control this. It's easier for you as a parent to do it than for me as, let's say, a ruler to do it for an entire city population. And there will be people out there who will be like, you know what? Let's have the administrative state come in and let's have like internet ID, so that way nobody can get online that doesn't deserve to be online. I'm like, no, that's stupid as well. They're stupid. These people are stupid. And James Lindsay's the only one who fucking gets it, but he looks like a fucking squirrel.
Well, especially on Twitter, his personality runs wild.
Well, he's a nut, isn't he?
Well, the Twitter is the concentration of the internet. Everyone gets act like their worst possible self. Except for this one, let's quote right here. It's not even his. We cannot use the ruling ring that we know it too well. It belongs to Sauron, and it was made by him alone, and it's altogether evil. And that is another reason why the ring should be destroyed. As long as it is in the world, it will be a danger to even the wise.
Jeez.
But he should honestly, James Lindsay, just get off of Twitter and just stick to his podcasts and his public speakings, because that's when he's at his best.
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know what to believe anymore. All I know is I truly do not. I think it's going to get interesting. Because, there are people now who are saying, oh, Dugan probably won't make it to 2024, past 2024. And I'm hoping that's the case, because then we can make a bunch of fucking memes about that shit. Like, legitimately, I'll go full Joe Pesci and, like, I'm shooting his big fucking mouth, like fucking Donovan playing in the background. I would love to see that.
And you know how you say you don't know who to believe anymore and what to know? I mean, this goes back to that phrase. I mean, I know we don't like the phrase, but chaos isn't a pit, chaos is a ladder. And this is exactly what people like George Soros believe. You create great moments by chaos, and you lead people out of the chaos. And one of the best ways to do that is to cause the chaos yourself.
Yep. The ring answers to its master that forged it. Unassured to Sauron, not you. The ring has his soul in the ring. Yeah, exactly. You get it. But there's one more thing here, Luke. Here we go.
And what is that?
We have 2 more things to cover here before we get going, because it's slowly go.
Oh, what's this?
This is somebody I follow on Twitter. Oh, whoa. Guess he deleted it, did he?
Peak Fitness?
Yeah, Peak Fitness. I guess he deleted it.
You're a base Duganist.
Yep, here you go. This guy right here.
Oh, the MAGA communist. Oh, MAGA communists.
The MAGA communists. Keith Woods. Not James Woods, but Keith Woods.
Reparations is very important, because of those anti-black things that were promulgated during slavery are still haunting us right now. So do you think that reparations would be up?
I don't accept your premise, sir, so no.
No. And at the same time, weaponizing Afro-American racists, just saying. They're doing it. It's always to the point, like, we could see what they're doing, but we can never really act on them, We just laugh at what the stupid jackass says about multipolarity.
We're still stuck in the audience, and we're not the speakers.
Not yet, but we're getting there.
We're not even the performers.
No, we're getting there, Luke. I have this distinct feeling that we're gonna have Modern Warfare 3 coming out soon, and it's gonna be fun.
Remedy some of the past atrocities that we're still suffering from.
My view is that it's fundamental. There's no way that this country moves forward as a unified nation. Black people were. It was understood back then when the slavery was abolished, that the former slaves would get 40 acres and a mule. Why? Because even then they understood you could be free on paper, but even then they understood if you're going to be a free American citizen, you need to have land. You need to have something to stand on. And, that was never given to black.
Not to go off on a tangent, but one of the great criticisms about Jews having to go to in the finances is because they couldn't make a living on land. You make a lot more money in finances than you do on land. You don't need to own land to be wealthy.
Owning land is basically just being a rent seeker. You know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It literally is. Unless it's what you do on the land, what you do with the land that counts.
Yeah.
So, unless, of course, you find oil on your land, and then that way it just becomes another resource grab, right?
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, it's what you do with your land that counts.
Americans.
So, Tariq Nasheed is now considered, I guess a Russian adjacent individual, let's just say. So we have to be very careful of him. And I remember him, he was a blast from the past. So we get to add him to the fucking Eurasian influencer club, along with the guy who looks like, I swear to you, he's that Muslim guy,
was
right?
he the guy who made the Tariq Nasheed? Was he the guy who made that rap song about washing your backside?
Wasn't he the guy? I think he was the guy who came up with the buck breeding thing, right? Was that right? Like it was the idea that the slave masters would like feminize the black male or something like that. I don't fucking know.
The stuff about being a permanent underclass you're talking about, it's definitely related to that legacy. So, I fully support it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Too much time online. We gotta I don't want to go that route because some things online just stay online, but there has to be some involvement in the real world, like just being there, being on your best gatekeeping or best behavior, making sure this society is running right.
Yep.
Keep the evils of the internet on the internet.
Yep. And where they stay, because that's sort of the best part. That's the whole best hope we can do is that the internet will archive everything, but we have to be the ones to push back against it.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. All right, Luke. Final thoughts.
I just find it absolutely hilarious when corrupt politicians virtue signal about how much they love democracy, and then of course slip the mask, proving that when they say our democracy, they don't actually mean yours. It's funny as heck, and I'm tired of pretending it's not.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, be good to one another. Take care of one another. Remember, saving the West is a side quest.